Companies who fail to have plans and strategies in place to manage and reduce their greenhouse gas emissions will find it increasingly difficult to find funding for their companies, which will in turn impact on performance. How do we respond to this? Developing a framework strategy that comprises a number of different elements, and in combination it will allow us to start to meet these requirements. And this will comprise replacement of fossil fuel-based thermal power with renewable energy, displacement of fossil fuels with lower carbon alternatives, improve efficiency of thermal power generation and minimise power use, and offsetting through investment in carbon sinks. Ideally, for any remote off-grid mining operation with a mobile mining fleet, power generation will be a key focus for meeting these greenhouse gas targets. Next slide, please. And next we'll look at how we went about assessing the power options available to us for Sukari, and have a quick look at some of the selection criteria we applied in reaching the decision. So first, it was reliability of operations. As you'll know, mining operations are 24/7, 365 days a year in terms of operations. In addition to this round-the-clock operation, mine sites can often be in remote locations with limited access to technical support and expeditions. Therefore, robustness and reliability of any selected system is critical to ensure the continuous smooth operation of the mine. To put this into context for you, we're a 500,000 ounce per annum producer. An hour of lost production equates to a loss of $100,000 of revenue at current gold prices. And without power, mines don't run. Interruptions to mining operations can be managed with stockpiles. If the power isn't on, we don't produce. Integration with our existing system. With an existing diesel-fired generating system, recognising our power requirements through startup and steady state, this system had to be seamlessly integrated to our existing configuration without that interruption. The de-risking the technical integration of new power source into our existing power solution is critical. It involves several independent industry experts for the reasons outlined above. Not all power plants and processing plants are the same. Our original processing plant was purchased second-hand and actually runs at a different voltage than our Phase 2 expansion. Therefore, we invested greater time and capital in making sure we have a de-risked solar integration, which has involved upgrades to our high-voltage switchgear. We looked at project scale and operating life. Given our annual power demand and the mine life in excess of 10 years, we also wanted to understand the trade-off between capital expenditures and operating costs and ensure that the payback period for the capital investment was considered at an appropriate timeline. In our case, that allowed us to access at least a 10-year horizon as a minimum, which obviously assists with with managing our hurdle rates. Suitability of the site. In the case of Sukari, we had to recognise the physical characteristics of our concession area, which is fairly hilly and rocky, to understand what options could be feasibly utilised at site in terms of properties. And while the solar irradiance is excellent in the eastern desert of Egypt, trade-off against site footprint against capex and opex was one we considered carefully, even looking at options to construct a solar farm on top of our tailings storage facility. While this wasn't practical but interesting to understand the options available. For us, it's important to note the scope of the optimal project for our medium-term needs while addressing the scope to expand the project capacity we needed to, with solar and battery technology and cost continue to improve. Economic evaluation. No surprises here, the usual metrics of IRR and NPV apply to ensure that any investment decision meets our hurdle rates. And our greenhouse gas reduction strategy. As outlined above, considerations around our greenhouse gas emissions and the strategy to reduce them over time and significant contrast reduction plans. The focus on using renewables as a priority, the use of less carbon-intensive alternatives, we were keen to ensure we were able to not only achieve a commercial benefit in our economic evaluation process, but one that delivered into our greenhouse gas reduction targets. We're a mining company. We're not power experts. So in order to ensure that we evaluated the process in line with good international practice, we enlisted the support of ECG from Perth in Australia, who were able to advise us on the available options and solutions for Sukari. Egypt does benefit from a number of advantages that we could consider. Domestic oil and gas sector, with cheaper local supply of hydrocarbons, wind given the proximity to the Red Sea, hydropower from the outer rim down are just some of the alternatives under consideration. Given the project's location, a high level of solar irradiance, solar's existing and extensive use in country, the reliability of the solution, its ability to integrate with our existing power plant, solar was quickly identified as the preferred renewable power solution to meet our greenhouse gas strategy. And with solar identified as meeting our selected criteria, we launched an international tender process to identify our preferred partners. I'm delighted to say that after that tender process, we selected you and as renewable energy specialists. We have a well-established track record in developing and integrating Energy Solutions, and Giza Systems, for specialist systems integrators in the Middle East and Africa region. Both groups demonstrated their expertise and ability to deliver both power solution at a competitive cost. Next slide, please. So I guess what have we signed up for? We are constructing the world's largest off-grid hybrid diesel solar power solution for a mine site. It comprises a 36 megawatt solar farm and a 7.5 megawatt battery storage system. We're using bifacial panels and single axis tracking, and the UE hybrid IQ microgrid technology will enable the integration of the solar and battery system into the existing off-grid network and further support the operation of our existing power station. Capital cost of some $37 million, we anticipate that the solar plant will generate some 88 million megawatt hours per year of electricity. This will displace some 22 million litres of diesel fuel, in addition to reduced transportation costs as well from our site. This in turn will reduce our annual CO2 emissions by some 60,000 tonnes. The process will save us some $9 to $13 million a year depending on price. We really think this is a win-win for Sentiment. It's a commercial success that also forms a central part of our greenhouse gas reduction policy and underlines our commitment to being a responsible miner. Next slide, please. And work has commenced at site, and we anticipate that the project should be online during the first half of next year. I very much look forward to updating you on progress over 2021 and 2022. But as I mentioned before, this is just the first step of our commitment to a low carbon future. The ability to scale up the project and potentially introduce battery storage is something that we can consider in the future. In addition, we continue to look at other alternatives to complement this project and meet our high reliability framework. And while we focus on operating efficiencies and reduction in use and demand, we can also consider such options as dynamic gas blending, natural gas with diesel for both power generation and our mobile fleets. We can consider moving to a battery-powered underground fleet, which also has multiple benefits around ventilation and productivity. We're very excited about where we can take these initiatives, and we're delighted to start with our solar.